As always, I'm going to be covering, the major three that I look for, so Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. Um, and then I'll get into what I think my thoughts for the next, few months are going to be, and then we'll do some coin review based off your guys' recommendation, and I'll give, potential ideas and plays that you guys can take. I'm not taking any of them, but if I do take a play, it's going to be posted in my channel, all right? So I won't be updating any of these moving forward, but I'll give potential plays. So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance first. All right. So, I mean, we had this fucking steep ass falling wedge, and we broke out. And if this chart is bullish, it's bad for alts basically. I think there's a chart. Let me grab that really quickly. But there's a good image that basically explains this perfectly. If you guys don't have this saved somewhere, I'd recommend saving it. Here is how Bitcoin dominance works. So yesterday we had Bitcoin price decreasing, dominance increasing, and you see when that happens, alts just die, right? We take a look at Sol, we take a look at shitcoin, dog with a hat, everything just died, all right? And this is something I posted in crypto chat, but also on my Twitter. I think this shitcoin goes way lower. I think you can buy this sub $2, but we had a bear flag, we had a corrective wave. The C wave isn't done yet. What's going to happen is most likely, we see this head and shoulders, right? And basically, the reason why I'm showing this chart is because, yesterday we were here, right? Every altcoin that look, here is, we were at 139 for Sol. We were, at ETH, we were at, 32, 36, and we were at support, and we broke out basically right here, right? Once we broke out of this falling wedge, alts just died, okay? Coupled with the fact that Bitcoin price was going down, this is an indicator that you guys want to be using to know when to go into altcoins, to know when to be risk off in altcoins. And there's a reason why myself, and I haven't checked other analysts' channel, but there's a reason why a lot of calls haven't been made, okay? And for me, I'm not going to be forcing anything. If this goes on for another month and a half and I don't see any plays progressing, I'm not going to call anything. If I see leverage plays, I'll call them. But knowing your strengths and weaknesses in the market, you have to adhere to those. Okay, for me, chop isn't one of my strengths. It's one of my weaknesses. I'm not going to succumb to chop, so I just sit sideline and wait for levels to be hit for me before taking those risks, those unnecessary risks, and trying to lose money and pull your hair out in the process of getting chopped up. Okay, now dominance did reject. Bitcoin dominance did reject, right, from resistance. We actually put in a little like doji pattern, candlestick. Okay, now this may go down, but look what happened at like 5 in the morning, right? Once we rejected, let's take a look at Sol for example, right? Although we rejected from resistance, it is still bullish. Okay, now if we come back to the support line here, which is like another 0.1% away, we could, flip it into or bounce from support, confirm support, and continue to go higher, putting in that higher low. We have broken market structure. So this still looks bullish to me. Bitcoin looks bearish. The other factor yesterday that I shared in chats was USDT dominance. All right, let's start on the higher time frame and trickle down. So if I were to go to, let's say, the 3-day, right, we have this downtrend, okay, and we actually broke out here, okay? Just like Bitcoin dominance, if this chart is bullish, it's bad for, now, dominance, Bitcoin dominance, it's bad for alts. But this coin, this chart, if it's bullish, it's bad for the whole crypto market in general. All right, and we broke out 3 days ago. All right, so that was a telltale sign to be at least risk off and possibly hedge. Okay, now on the daily, or look at that daily candle, like we're at resistance right now. Okay, we have supply zone here. We are at resistance. Okay, we can still actually go to 520, but if I were to go on the 4-hour, this is what I was seeing yesterday, and I was wrong on the market. I was expecting a corrective wave down to the trend line touch here. I was expecting at least some type of relief in the market to about 67, 68K, and then we have our huge move down. And what I failed to see was, and I'm not a patterns person, I can't do replay on this chart, but when I was looking at this chart, we were this red candle here, okay, and I saw the engulfing and the closure below this major, resistance SR point, and I was hoping for a rejection here and then slow grind down, right? But we actually put in this broadening wedge, and this is a bullish pattern, and I'll show this on Bitcoin as well because it lies there as well. But this broadening wedge, it played out perfectly, okay, and it's usually like this and it goes higher. Let me just get an image of that so you see what I'm talking about and not just speaking out of my ass. I have like over 70 patterns instilled in my brain. One sec. Alright. Okay. So a broadening wedge, there's a bearish broadening wedge. There's a bullish one. This is bullish. It starts from down here, right? We go up, down, then up, and this failed to come all the way down, but it broke out. This is a bullish pattern. Target for this broadening wedge is actually measured from the bottom of the last touch, just there, to the top trend line, and placed up here. So this tells me that the pattern and the technical target is going to that 520 resistance point, which falls in line with here. So that's going to be a point of rejection and an interest to possibly deploy some capital into the market, buy the dips. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. Otherwise, I want to see if we don't get to that high. We have this local high here, right? I want to see a take of these sweep of liquidity, close below, put in the swing failure pattern. TA does work on this chart, although it's not like an actual coin. So take the highs, close below, and possibly put in a double top swing failure back to the 4.84 region, where if you do buy on the sweep, even up until 520, you do want to go risk off a little bit as we come back down here and see what happens from that point on. Okay, so this chart is still bullish. I want to see 520 rejection, but we take it slowly from here. Now Bitcoin, and this is the thing that I wanted to go over. So we take a look at this chart, and there's a few patterns on here. Okay, again, we have the broadening wedge formation. Okay, we got a deviation here, right? Go back down here and then go back up there. That's one possibility. All right. You have a bull flag. Okay. Now let me tell you why Bitcoin, in my opinion, looks very weak, and I think we go lower. And that is, I explain a little bit in my channel why that is, but look at how many times we've tested range lows. Okay, and when you are playing a range, okay, the more, and not just a range, but in general, the more support and resistance is, touched, the weaker it's going to be. So in this case, when we made our range lows, okay, there's the first support touch. or confirmation. Okay, here's the first support touch, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and here's the seventh. Okay, now my sweet spot when I'm playing any touches of support or resistance, anything after 4, I'm risk off. Okay, I'm not going to short resistance after the 4th touch. I'm not going to long resistance after, or long support after the 4th touch. I wait for confirmation at that point. Okay, so if we were, let's say, here is our first, second, third, here's our 4th touch, right? Anything after the 5th one, or after the 4th one, so here's the 5th one, right? I was waiting for, in this case, this was actually a swing failure. We actually sweep the lows here, right? Once we closed above, then you had the long to mid-range, okay? Now, over here, when we got to mid-range, I mentioned in my channel also, I had actually a quiz on the same exact chart, not to long it until mid-range was flipped. See how we flipped? We broke out, we flipped it to support and ran higher, right? Again, we broke out, flipped it to support and ran higher, and then broke out, flipped it to support, ran higher. We didn't do that here yet, okay? So there was no confirmation to long. We broke out, but we never flipped it to support. We actually closed below mid-range and then continued to go further down. Now, as I mentioned, we've had so many touches of range low, okay? So this was bound to break down, and my targets, my first one is this demand zone here, which is not as strong, okay? We don't have an extended consolidation area, so this touch is actually just going to be an SR point, right? We can come down, wick, touch the bottom of this trend line, and hopefully close above, but this is going to be our first bounce point. So like 57.6 should be our first bounce point. That can give you a short-term bounce on a lower time frame. It doesn't mean it's going to continue bouncing from there, but anywhere from 57.6 down to 56.5 is our first bounce point, okay? Our major bounce point, and an area that I do not want to lose, is going to be this demand zone here on the daily. So from 53K down to 50 is where I would like to start buying spot. All right, so if I'm taking a leverage long, I'm waiting here, and this would be more of an experienced play. If you are an experienced trader, you have a soft stop loss. Once it closes below 50K and turns it into resistance, right, then you cut out because we're going lower. And at that point, it's a break of structure. So if I were to go to a clean chart, we never got that one, but if I were to take a look at Bitcoin and we take a look at its higher highs and higher lows, right? Okay. Here is our last higher low. Okay, this 50K point, right? We can say, yes, we put in another, higher high here and maybe a higher low there, right? Even if this was your last higher low, okay, this is my main one. You can have multiple impulses within a larger time frame of your higher highs and higher lows, but we can easily come down here, right, put in a double bottom and then bounce. This is my point of holding because this is going to be my next higher low from this point here, right? So again, you can have multiple touches of that or multiple points when you're talking about higher highs and higher lows. And if you were to draw a trend line, right, I don't want to lose this 50K point, because if we do, we have a break in structure and it's going to look like this. Okay, remember how everyone was bullish on TIA, and eventually, like, coins will not be able to go and sustain an uptrend forever, right? We have higher highs, higher lows, right? Here was your last higher low. Okay, we came back down here, bounced from that higher low point, right? Gave you a 20% move, but as soon as you are putting closures below, right, here is our break of structure. Once we closed down, we put in a lower low. We went to that higher low point, rejected, putting in a lower high, and then now you just have a downtrend. All right. I'm looking for the same thing on that on Bitcoin. Okay. Uptrend, come back down. Hopefully we bounce and put in a double bottom. Also a higher high on this impulse. Okay, and then just go up front from there. But if we are losing that, I am looking for the lower low to be confirmed, reject, and put in a lower high, and then we have lost structure and going down from that point, which in turn would send us to 40K and 40, and see if we bounce from there. Now 50K is where I want to hold. Lose 50K, I turn bearish, and I will take short scalps to that 40, 45K. Okay. Now, it is not impossible, but I'm just putting it out there, that we can actually go and retest this 32K point. Okay. Why 32K? Previously resistance, again rejected. We broke out, and we never tested it. Right. Now that's a 50% dip from here. All right, and I've mentioned this in the past that 30% dips are normal in a bull run. If we take a look at the last cycle, and I've covered this before, but for those that weren't there or haven't watched the videos, let's say we started our bull run, here, right after that COVID crash. Here's our first one. Okay, there's 20% dip. Here is second. Here is the third. Right? And then from here, yes, we dipped 26%, went higher, and then we had our fatal 50% crash. Okay. Rallied to new highs. Now notice, and I made a video on this, but bunch of altcoins ran to their highs on this first initial pump up. Okay, yes, we dipped and then made new all-time highs here, but a lot of altcoins did not make new highs there. So what is to say that this pump that we had from 25K to all-time highs, what if that was our last hoorah on those altcoins, and then we're not making those highs anymore? All right, a lot of coins did from their lows from 15, 25K, 5 to 7x. All right, so I don't think that's the case, but it's always good to have those what ifs in the back of your head, right? Because you have to be prepared. You can't just keep unloading your clip and not take profit on the way up and say, oh, well, we haven't reached all-time highs on Sol. We haven't reached all-time highs on Link. Like, it's going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. It doesn't mean it's going to happen just because Bitcoin ran to its highs. All right? There's a lot of shitcoins out there. Okay? And anything that comes from Sol is a shitcoin. All right? So let's just put that out there. I'm making it well known. A lot of people that have come in my streams know that. Anything that comes from Sol is a shitcoin. All right? Now, I'm going to finish these dips really quickly. Okay, and this is again the last fatal one. Right? So let's count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then our final one was 9. All right. Now, if we said the bull run started once we broke out of 25K, so let's do our dips here. All right. So here's our first dip. Main one. This one isn't really much, but it's still a dip. Okay, 17 went higher, and then from here to current price action, okay, we have an 18% dip. Now, I don't like fractals. I don't like going based off what happened last cycle because things do change. We do have new players in the market, but nothing comes close to these dips that we had last cycle. Okay, is it over? Absolutely not. We're going to have more of these. All right, but you as traders, as retail traders, you can't keep buying and expecting price to go up. You have to pay yourselves eventually. Even in choppy times, if you are a spot trader, right? If you're just playing a range on a coin, you buy, and if it goes up 5 to 10%, you sell. You can do it over and over again. Now, those that are building long-term positions, let's say on days like this, and you're adding to your bags on the way down, okay? You're not going to go in, let's say you have $1,000, you're not going to put in 50% of it right now and then buy every 2% dip, right? You're going to zoom the fuck out on the chart. You're going to find your daily and your weekly time, or depending on the coin, let's say you use a 3-day chart or a daily or a weekly for high time frame. You're going to find those high time frame supports and you're going to bid those. If it doesn't reach it, you're fine, but you're not going to unload your clip because you want to keep capital in case we have capitulation wicks like such, right? Like we go up and then you have a 10K candle down, basically, right? In a single day, you want to wait for those dips. So you place your bids, you open up your charts on whatever you want to buy. You want to buy Sol at like $110, place your bids. Don't wait for price to reach there, right? If it reaches there, your bids are automatically filled, and you have lower ones waiting to happen or waiting to fill if it happens. If not, then at least you have a great entry. If you bought from, let's say, here and you filled a bid there, at least it lowered your entry a little bit, and you're holding for the long term. Now, those that bought spot down over here, you're chilling, all right? These are your long-term bids. If you want to sell, by all means, no one's going to tell you not to. If you ask me when to sell, I'm not going to answer your question. It's your profit. But, at least take out your initial so you're risk-free. Okay? My trading strategy, my investment strategy when it comes to taking profit, once my coin hits 3x, I take out my initial. It's risk-free. I'm writing free coins at that point. Right? So don't fall in love with bags, even though, I have my conviction of what I think is going to make it in the market. Never trust my words, never trust someone on Twitter, right? Like, we are just showing analysis. It's whatever profit that you are happy making is when you should be taking profit. If you are going to take screenshots of, the amount of money you've made on the week, then it's time to take profit. Don't be greedy. Slowly take profit so you can reallocate into something else, and just don't be a bag holder, right? So yes, on Bitcoin I think we go lower. Now we are looking at range lows being turned into resistance, and hopefully we don't put in another wick like this of these sweep lows and then reclaim range lows and go higher. I want lower. If you are in from higher, I'm sorry, but the more touches of a support region, we're going lower. All right. Now I know Wog wants his 45K.
Hey.
I do think that it's going to be reached as long as 50K isn't lost. So
man, look, it's going to be hit. It's not a hunch. It's not, like you said before, it is purely analysis. We're only here to give you analysis. But God damn it, when is me personally, and big ol' Arsh, when are we gonna be wrong? Okay, I'd say maybe a couple times we're wrong here and there, but I'd say 90% of the time we are relatively correct. And the thing is, right, in the end, somehow we come up to the same conclusion. My analysis, I'd say, is very, very different from how Arshmeister perceives the market, but you're unbiased, so to speak. Yes, Jack, I am. Appreciation. And me personally, I follow fundamentals on a different scale, and I like to explain everything in monkey terms, so to speak. Either way, we both still somehow come up with the same conclusion again and again at the end. One main thing I do want to focus on is that when you have a specific goal in mind, okay, please be aware of the past. Obviously, when we were at all-time highs, there wasn't really much historical data we could go off of. Now we're back into, the sort of ranges where we can now talk about history, and we can now start making statements that are somewhat truthful, that hold some claims, but at least have some research behind them. The reason why, at least me, I'm pretty sure, Ash, have you been posting calls and whatnot about BTC recently?
Um, I had two, one short and one long, and they both played out, but I've just been sidelined for now.
Okay. Well, same here. I've only taken one short throughout this entire duration, but to be quite honest with you, there is no need for you guys to trade something like this. If you understand the overall bias, let's say for the month, you can take that position, lower risk, lower leverage, do what you need to do. But there is no need for you to consistently trade a market you are not comfortable in. That is one of the fattest mistakes everybody makes, is they get into a market they are not familiar with. Obviously, finding consistencies in a market like that is fantastic. But stepping out of your comfort zone when you are, let's say, so to speak, reliant on that money, you do not need to step out your comfort zone. If you found your comfort zone, please just stay in there. There is no reason, unless you want to become liquidity, perfectly fine. That's all right, I'm quite happy with that. But I would recommend stay within your own ranges. Stay within your own, at least, sanity. Because most people, when you're in a bull run, I'll be honest, there is no way you're bearish in a bull market. If you are bearish in a bull market, I think it's time to leave. I think it's time to go somewhere else. This is not the market for you. And you'll see a lot of our traders in here. I love them. I love them all. But again, all those traders, we were all in a bull market together. If they're doing fantastic in a bull market, good. Good for them. But if they remain biased to a bull market, I'm personally just stay away from them. In my opinion, stay away from them. Honestly, that's why I like to talk with Arshmeister a lot, is because he's unbiased. Same with Weatherman. He's very, very unbiased when it comes to the market. And unfortunately, a lot of people in here, you get used to seeing the same trends. And when you see those trends, it is still part of some form of historical data in your mind, and you are going to refer back to it here and there. But to remain completely unbiased and aware of the market at all times is definitely where you want to be. Like, for instance, in this scenario, the last lesson that we spoke about was that this market still hasn't broken out of its range, and it is still trying to go down. So you take that into consideration. Do not follow it like the Bible, okay, or the Quran. You don't need to follow it like that. Take everything, at least I say, or others in here, with a pinch of salt and into some consideration. Be aware that the market is volatile, very volatile. And for you to lose, somebody has to win. Vice versa, for you to win, somebody has to lose. Expect that. Happens quite consistent in the market, yes, best bid and best ask. But please, I understand the idea and, the excitement behind making a lot of money in the market. But the minute you confine to that excitement and start spending excessively and living like that money is free, though that money isn't, I would say it is hard working to receive that money, then you will start losing, inevitably. If you are thinking about winning short term rather than long term, you will inevitably lose. So please, if you are here in this market is here for a very, very long time. And you need to think of it like, I guess, it being here for a very, very long time. Every single person you will come across, they all have different perspectives. Your bias alone is very, very important. Very important. And you should stick by that bias at any given chance. Even if me or Arshmeister says otherwise, your bias is more important. I know a lot of people don't follow patterns, but your mind regularly breaks down patterns regardless, whether or not you like it. And to ignore your own, at least, mind and the way it breaks down patterns is silly, in my opinion. There's a lot of consistencies in the market that need to be followed and recognized. They are there for a reason. There are many institutions and banks that take a part in the trades that you are taking a part of too. Be careful. But yeah, sorry, continue, Archmaster.
No, well said. The one thing that I wanted to add on to that you said perfectly was the market's going to be here a long time, so you have to understand which of the two participants you are. Are you an investor or are you a trader, right? Investors, it's a bull run for them every single time, right? Because they're here for the long run. They're zoomed out. They're not looking on it day to day, week to week. They're looking on it, on a time frame longer than a year. So for them, it's always a bull run, right? Even if it's like, a multi-year bear market, they're thinking, my money's here for a long duration of time. Now, if you are a trader, if you are retail, if you are a day trader, whatever it is, whether you do daily swings or scalps or whatever, you have to have your head on a swivel, and you can't think, like it's a bull market, it's a bear market. You are trading whatever levels are presented in front of you, right? You're not going to be short in an uptrend unless it's on a low time frame or a break of structure where it's just, making new lows, new lower highs, and go from there. We are macro-wise, if I zoom out on this chart, it's an uptrend, right? We have corrections. I just outlined that to you. 30% dips are normal, but we are in a uptrend. Now, this is macro-wise. If you go to a lower time frame, yeah, sure, everything looks disgusting. We're putting in lower lows, lower highs. This is where, if you are going to take longs, you're going to scalp them because right now shorts are in favor. So you can be macro bullish, but you can be micro bearish, and that's totally okay. You have to have that, in the back of your head that not everything is going to be up, right? So just wanted you to know that. If you that for me, I have an investment bag. I am a trader as well. Investment wise, I'm bullish, like I mentioned. If I'm trading, I have no bias whatsoever. You adapt to the market. All right, I can be a man one day and a woman the next. Right, that's the type of environment that we're living in currently. And to put it into the world, right? You never know what is given to you in terms of, yeah, man one day, woman the next. Take that however you want. I just thought I'd put it out there. But yeah, so right now, macro-wise, I'm bullish. I'm not changing my thesis on that. Micro, whatever the levels in the charts provide to me, I'll trade it. So let's take a look at ETH. Okay. ETH again, bull flag, patterns. The only reason I'm showing patterns, I don't really trade them. I trade, support, resistance, supply, and demand, is because it's easier to identify with people, right? Like they see something bullish, and they're like, oh shit, it's gonna go higher, right? But are you able to see things within patterns? Were you able to see this swing failure pattern, SFP, take the highs and close below? Did you long just because you saw a bull flag, or did you actually see, technicals that tell you that this might be reversing, right? Swing failure pattern, we did not flip resistance. I can bust this out. We see that once we broke out, we flipped support, we continued to go higher, right? We broke out, flipped it to support, ran higher, support, ran higher. We lost it, turned it into resistance. It's still resistance. Okay, so looking at ETH, like ETH looks pretty weak. Well, the whole market in general does, right? But why is ETH important? Well, Consensus, a company, has sued the SEC in an offensive move because they felt that they were going to get sued by the SEC themselves, and they are saying that ETH is not a security, while the SEC is saying that it is. Okay, now why is this important? Okay, think about XRP. When Ripple and the SEC had their lawsuit, when SEC deemed that XRP was a security, what did the exchanges do? they delisted XRP from everything. Now, what happens if the SEC deems that ETH is a security? Well, that could be bad because everything could be delisted, or all the ETH could be delisted from all the exchanges. Now, this is going to take, it could take some time to play out, or it could not. But just imagine if ETH gets delisted from Binance, Bybit, whatever exchange you're using, that's going to be pretty bad for everything, right? So that's one of the main lawsuits happening right now that everyone should be focused on, because if that happens, then fuck, we're in it for a while, right? Now, not saying it's going to be bad for the markets in its entirety. We could, have a short-term dip that could take, weeks to months, but we will recover because if SEC wins this case, then they will have a lawsuit from every single company exchange, and I don't think it's going to be in their best interest to take all these at once, because it's going to be bad for them. So, but I just want you guys to keep this in your minds, because that could happen and you could see ETH get delisted from exchanges, which in turn could be bad for all of our investments. But right now, what I'm seeing for ETH, let's go to a 3-day chart. Okay. Failed to flip this previous support like this. See how we have a battle between the bulls and the bears here? We failed to hold it. So if we go and retest it and actually confirm the rejection, now we have another deviation. Okay, deviation, deviation, and deviation. Right? If this level does not hold here, so basically from like 2870 down to 2800, if this does not hold, have a good one, man. I am honestly looking at this demand zone here. 25 down to 2100. Okay. And now Bitcoin has a weekly demand zone here as well, and that is at Walg's area, Walg's area at that 45K level. Okay, here's your weekly demand zone. So 45 down to 40K. Okay, so keep an eye out on this 2800 level, because if that's lost, then you're going to bid 25 down to 2150-ish. Okay. Again, trend is still intact. We can come down all the way down to 2K and still be putting in higher highs, or sorry, higher lows. Okay. So same thing here with Bitcoin, right? When I mentioned that 50K level, we could put in a double bottom and not lose this higher low part and go in from there. So if Bitcoin does reach that 54 down to 50K level, ETH will reach this level as well, right? Otherwise, I'm not looking to get into ETH until we reclaim this level here. Okay, I need this to be reclaimed into support. At that point, it's going to be a possible breakout point here for this downtrend as well. But this 31 to 3200 is a very crucial point that needs to be reclaimed for us to go higher. Otherwise, you bid lower. Okay. And last but not least, shitcoin Sol. Okay. So first things first, invert your chart. Send this to your favorite NFT collection group. Okay. We have a cup and handle that just broke out. The technical targets for this cup and handle, you take it from the base of the cup to the neckline. neckline up. Technical targets for Sol is $54, $55. Who would shit their pants if they were able to get Sol at $55? And who would shit their pants if they didn't take profits from being up because they think this is going to all-time highs and then now are probably round-tripping or becoming a bag holder for the second time in 5 years? Right? I have no sympathy for NFT groups. I have no sympathy for Sol bag holders, but this is very bad because we have actually lost trend. Okay, close below, retest. Honestly, here are your buy levels. Okay, first buy level is actually going to come around this point here, so 112, 95, 82, and last but not least, the technical targets of $55. Okay. I wouldn't go into any Sol longs here, like in this area, until we get to these levels. Okay, we are back in no man's land. I wouldn't. I mean, depending on how you want to take this cup and handle, no matter how you want to take this bear flag. Here's a bear flag target that lines up with 112. You want to take it from this top impulse, sure. There you go, lines up with 82. So there's a lot of bearishness on Sol, and you want to see how 131 to 132 reacts. If we reject, then you're looking to open up a Sol short. Okay, stops probably above here and target all the way down. Right, but if we are able to reclaim this trend line, then you will cut your shorts for a small loss. Now, this is on contingency that we reject and close below, just like what I showed for WIF. Okay, reject, close below, then that was your short trigger. Right, reject, close below, stops above these highs, and there's your target, right? So we rejected here, we close below, you open up a short here. Yes, we continue to go higher. Let's say you missed that one. Okay, well, rejected, close below, open up a short here, stops again above here, right? So same thing for Sol. Reject, close below, you open up a short. Now, depending on how high this goes, or you might have to adjust your stop loss, but this would be the potential play right now. Okay, so I'll post this in chats. I'll post my Bitcoin chart as well. I just don't know which one you guys want me to post. Let's look at this one. Okay. Now, I went over this in detail. I'm not going to go over it again, and I'll post the ETH. So for those that who came here late, you can watch the video again once it's up. And that is the buy zone for ETH. Okay. Let me just confirm that I actually started recording. Okay, cool. Alright, so now I'm going to take suggestions on coins. Alright, WIF I've already pointed out. I think this goes below 2. So I'm just going to post this in case anyone mentions it. Alright. Now, I will go in order. Okay, so bear with me. If it's taking a while, just give me, I'm going to go in order. Not every single coin will make it. I'm here for another 25 minutes. I'll do as much as I can. I'm not going to go over Jupe, okay? But let's take a look. Vanry and Ator, sure. Okay. What happened to my days? All right. So Vanry keeps failing to break out. If the market cooperated, it would have broken out nicely. These are my buy levels. So I had posted that I was buying at 18 on my Twitter, and I also posted I was going to buy at support. We hit support perfectly, and we got a nice 16% bounce. Now, this looks kind of ugly right now, but every single chart looks like this. Okay, we actually have a bear flag that we have broken down from. Okay, and every chart looks terrible. Okay, so it's not just the ones that I'm holding. I'm down a good amount on my coins as well from the most recent plays that I've called. But like, not every coin is positive here, right? Like fuck. Yeah, we're dipping hard, right? So points of buy for Vannery are going to be these in blue here. 1, 2, 9, and then 1, 1. Lose that, then honestly, 8. I'll make that blue. Okay. So I'll post Vannery. A tour. Again, every chart is down more than 50%. We're getting to my final DCA point. Lose that, then these levels in blue. Okay. Where do I get these levels from? Previously resistance. Right, we broke out, we flipped to support, so support first. This is an SR point. We're getting close to it. That's my final DCA point. And then, again, resistance. We broke out. We actually haven't flipped it to support, so it's an SR point. That's where I'll be bidding. This is my last final DCA, but I will be DCAing my last like forever bids at these blue points here. Okay. Ondo hasn't changed. Right. Again, I mentioned this chart looks like TIA. Right. We are here in TIA. Okay. Higher highs, higher lows, highs, lows, consolidation. Highs, lows, consolidation at the trend line. Right? We can still come back down to, like, let's say 59 and still put in another higher low, and then you adjust your trend line at that point. Right? But right now we're holding it. Before it had a bounce, and then see how it goes from there. So we are here in TIA right now. In my opinion, I'm adding to it, but this is where you buy, in my opinion, there and there. Right? I still think this goes higher. Yeah, we're nuking. ENA. Yikes. Is there a chart with more data? One sec. This will be hard to do TA on because there's not much data to go by. One sec. Yeah, I can't really do TA on this because there's not much data to go to, but I mean, we're going on a lower time frame. Here are your buy levels. Support. Yep, there you go. Let me go back on the 2 hour, 4 hour. I'm unsure on this. New coin, can't really do TA on new coins. You just have to wait until they develop. But it lines up with the retest point there. Yeah. Black is your DCA points. Sorry, I can't do much on this coin since it's brand new. Gala. Yikes. Must hold point, otherwise you have a head and shoulders. Wanky one. Now, I'm just doing technical targets into the negatives. Alright. Higher high, or no, lower lows, lower highs. Yeah, this looks bad. Okay. You have a demand zone here. It's also a crucial point. I mean, if you're looking to bid this on the long term, that's where I'd be looking to bid. Longing here, again, is very a bad idea because we have so many touches of the support. We just saw what happened to Bitcoin. It just got decimated. Damn, we're still going lower. So I wouldn't long here. If anything, I would wait until these lows are swept. See if it puts in a swing failure. And then you can long. First TP would come here. And then probably here. But you want to see that sweep of the lows first. Otherwise, you're bidding with limits here. Stop loss below. Or if you're adding to your spot bags, then you will add here and here. Gala. Ondo ENA. Dog coin. Alright. I think Doge goes back down to here. We broke out and never retested it. Previous range as well. Right here's the breakout. So I think you can get Doge 10.5 to 10 cents. Again, very important level here to hold. But lose it, there's honestly nothing stopping it from going down to 10.5. Yep. You want to buy it, you buy previous range highs to mid-range. Again, it's going to be in an uptrend. It will lose it once this level is lost. So this is going to be your buy zone. On a lower time frame, yeah, it must hold here. You have a head and shoulders pattern as well. Supply would be a short. This would be a possible another lower high. Back down to lower lows. Ooh. We just put in a swing failure here. This is your setup if you're taking this long. Swing failure, we took out the lows, closed above, market long, stops below the wick, easy invalidation, and you go higher. Doge. Tia I already covered. But this is gonna keep making new lower lows. I wouldn't long this until it breaks down from this downtrend. But if you're looking to get into deeper longs, then basically fill of this wick and demand zone. Now this would be a long setup. Prefer spot bags because the stop loss is very wide and the risk to reward isn't great. But this coin looks like absolute dog shit. Yeah. I would short this order block if we get to it. Yeah. Here's Tia. Can you check dog USDT? No. Sorry, but it's a new coin. You can't really do Tia on new coins, and plus it just is it ruins or is it ordinals or is it another fucking soul thing? Ruins? Okay, then I'll check it. One sec, one sec. All right, Steve, you're trolling with coal, but I'll do sushi. Unless you aren't trolling. I've known you for a while, so you haven't. Yeah, you're trolling. Fuck you. All right. Sushi is do or die here. Yeah, sushi has lost trend. It's honestly do or die here for sushi. It must hold this. I mean, if you're looking to get into longs, this is your long setup. Easy invalidation. Whoa. Right, stops below. And you're targeting the bearish retest point or mid-range. But lose that, there's no stopping this from going to testing this pre-breakout point. And at that point, like, you better hold the lows hold. And if you think this is going to rocket from there, then that. Same thing here, right? Reject. Now this is a bearish Quasimodo pattern. I will 100% short it if it gets there. Let me show you what that looks like. right? Higher highs, higher highs, lower lows, back into there. Short that for sure, and then send this Ponzi to the fucking ocean. Okay. So let me post sushi. Um, One sec, let me go into orders. If they hit those last forever bids and unfortunately crypto continues to drop, is there a point you cash out for loss or will you hold those? Um, so I haven't added anything to my long-term bags. My long-term bags I'm in for much lower. These are all short-term plays. Yes, I will cut for losses if I see high time frame levels of support turn into resistance, just like I did with Injective. So I will cut them if they don't work out. I have no problem getting rid of losers. Um, Pendle. I don't know what RSS-3 is. It sounds like something that just came out of Star Wars or something from the KGB, so I don't want them hunting me, so I won't do that. Pendle, though. Hmm. Okay, we are at the golden pocket. It should provide some type of relief bounce here. So if you're looking too long, this would be your play. Now, I don't know how this coin moves, but that would be your play. Long now stops below the 6.6 fib, and then you target back into the supply zone. Nice. Doge doing nice. Arsh, you are somewhat handsome. Thanks. Paybacks. AVAX hanging by a thread here. Demand zone. One, two, bounce from here. Yeah, front run that demand zone. Remember the broadening wedge formation, right? One, two, down here, should provide a bounce. So 24.67 down to 19-ish is where you should buy. And hopefully that holds. Because other than that, if we lose that, then we're going down to 15. So 24 down to 19. 24.70 down to 19. USDT dominance at 520. Would you look at that? Rejected right up my lines. And look at that. Alt's pumped right from there. That was something, if you guys came in late, was what I discussed. I said 520 would be a rejection point. Nice. Um, I'm getting tagged. Okay, let me do, where do I chart? Fuck, which one is it? So this one? This one? Oh, I'm gonna slam my head against this wall. Alright, let's see. I don't know how to... What in the fuck is this? I can't take this chart seriously after that. I honestly don't know how to chart this. Because that's the lows it needs to hold. I don't know. Dog go to the moon. It has to hold this. I mean, you can see a bear flag here forming. Right? If we're doing technicals. You can draw some extension fibs if you want. Maybe those are your buy points. I don't really know. I can't do dog. B-vol I already discussed at the beginning a little bit. In terms of heavy explanation, that's one of the edges that I give to my students, so I can't go into deep detail on it, but I went over what the brief synopsis is at the beginning of this. Bonk. Only because I fucking hate Soul. I missed that. Hold here looks good. Can come down to golden pocket as well. Demand zone, SR point. I mean, it bounced right where it had to, right? Not yet, but that's where I would bid. Close below, turn into resistance, then we have a deviation, which it has not done yet. Yeah, that would be the place to bid. Now, stop loss is very wide. But technically speaking, we should go into another higher low, and that's where you would bid. Okay. How low did we get? Ooh, one sec. Interessante. Bounce from equal lows. Swing failure if we close the daily like this. Now, if we close the daily like this, this is going to be your play. Right? Market long wherever it is. Stop loss below the wick. First TP at range lows. And then TP2. And then if we go higher, then TP3 is mid-range. So let's see how we close the day. We still have 4 hours left. So this would be a potential play on Bitcoin. Tau. Honestly, I didn't know what this was when did you enter the long? No, I haven't entered the long yet for Bitcoin yet. I'm waiting for the daily to close. Just have 4 hours, so. Oldest chart for Tau is where? Okay, there we go. I don't remember having this chart. Okay. So I thought Tau was like brothel terms for Asian girl. And that's what I refer to from now on. And this is about to lose the following wedge structure. This is a key must hold level. Yeah, so first point, I do agree with the 786 fib. It was previously support here as well, right? Resistance, resistance, support. So 318 down to, if you want to buy this for long term, then 318 DCA at 281 and 233. But this is a bounce point right here. Like it bounced perfectly from that 268 level, which was previous highs, that it never retested. I wouldn't long this coin though. It looks pretty bad. But here are your buy levels. OP. OP just had an unlock, so looks pretty disgusting. OP also has a bear flag. Now, this coin only runs because it's an ETH beta. I don't think it runs without. Like, there's no fundamentals to do that without. It's a last cycle coin. It needs to hold this $2.04 region, right, support. But technical targets for this bear flag, and I'm just showing technical targets, is like $1.20-ish. It needs to hold, first of all, this trend line. It's in trouble. key SR point. That's a short if we ever get it. Okay, it's putting in higher highs, higher lows on a higher time frame. Demand zone. I would bid that demand zone again if we ever get it too. So something like this if we get it. Otherwise, $2.04 is where you start averaging into it. Chart doesn't look good at all. I wouldn't recommend doing anything here. It's within here and the range lows. So you have to either wait until this goes to range highs or come back down to range lows to make a decision. This looks like it wants lower, as every other chart does. So I would say be patient. If you take the long down here, it's going to be... Now stop loss is tough. Because placing it below that wick is terrible. So it's going to be a tight stop back to the bearish retest point. It's about a 5-hour trade, easy invalidation. Because if you get stopped here, it's going down there. Or break down, retest, close below. You will short with stops somewhere probably above here. Hasn't happened yet. You need confirmation. Back down to range lows. Okay. Alright, I'll do Lena here last, and Ron, and that's it. Ron was first. Why am I naming or charting Kim Possible's boyfriend? Alright, let's see. Okay, let's take a look at this. Why are we buying coins that look like this? Once again, it's a must hold. I don't even know what this coin is, but it looks disgusting. Must hold. Previous resistance, support, support. Right, it's getting weaker. I think this one's lower. Yeah. It's also about to lose the trend. Oh. It's only spot, huh? Yeah, has to bounce where it is currently. Right, you took it from here to the top. Golden pocket fib. It needs to bounce here. Otherwise, you get this demand zone. Okay. Oh, this is from Axie blockchain. Stay the fuck away from this. Axie's a terrible company. What the fuck? Neil, why are we buying stuff from Axie, bro? Alright. Last chart. Steve, is Dave an actual coin? I'll do it for you. I'm not trying to look at coins that look like this, though. Yeah. Alright. Um, yeah, must hold here as well. This chart looks terrible. It's a low cap coin. Um, if you want to buy it, I'd buy 64.7. Now it's at support, but look, the longer we consolidate on support, the weaker it's going to be. See, if we take a look at Atom, I know I charted this somewhere. Whatever. Back to Lena. Yeah, so this looks pretty bad. If it's a bounce, it's right here. You know, if you're longing this, invalidation is pretty tight. Stop loss below these wicks. I mean, still, and you're targeting this supply zone. About a 2. Yeah, the risk reward isn't great. But these daily candles, if they close like this, it's awful. That would be the only logical play. What's the candle, the big red one, look like it rugged again? These ones? Fuck, this is a dumb feature. Yeah. That would be the only play. Otherwise, you buy Madrid loses. I'm not into soccer. But I hope they lose for you. I had my heart torn out by the Lakers last night, so. Alright, guys. I'll stop recording here. I'm going to post this.